Hi, it gives me enormous pleasure to be here today because, like all middle-aged men of a certain age, we grew up hero-worshipping these people. I was telling Mr. Kirmani that one of my most vivid cricketing memories is meeting him in Cambridge in 1982 at the university's cricket ground. And I saw him sitting by the boundary line, and I crept up to him. Because in those days, you didn't watch so much cricket on television because there wasn't a national network. And B, you seldom saw them, if ever, in the flesh. So in a sense, this is for me a kind of triple treat to have these three great men, whom all of us revere, here to talk about what is without question the greatest moment in the history of Indian cricket. And I say this as someone who is a partisan of Test cricket, but I think if there's a single moment that any of us was to choose in the long history of this game in this country, it would be 1983. Just a couple of words to underline how important and how much of a turning point 1983 was. Consider, when we got to the finals, there was so little expectation in India, in the government, that we would actually get there. They hadn't actually booked television time for the telecast, for the semi-finals and the finals. So they had to scramble at the last minute to do this. Think of how many journalists actually went to cover this match from India. A sum total of 6, some of them paying part of their own expenses just to be there. It was a time when every World Cup had happened in England. Not till the victory of 1983 does the World Cup shift. It comes to India in 1987. We have a new national television audience. So this is the first great sporting event that genuinely has the nation watching it as one, as a kind of communion. And in a sense, it's the great preview of the behemoth that Indian cricket became by the end of the 1980s with liberalization, India as a kind of cricketing superpower. We all take this for granted now, that India is the big 800-pound gorilla in the room. Well, it wasn't. It was the runt of the litter in 1983. And these are amongst the 3 men in that band of heroes who made us that gorilla. So I'm going to begin with, I think we're all agreed, the senior most and amongst the most distinguished cricketers ever to play for India, Mr. Kirmani, who is, who has received so many distinctions in his career, a Padma Shri, an Arjuna Award, an Eklavya Award. But I think he would accept that one of the great moments of his life was participating in that World Cup and having an extraordinary tournament. Do you want to tell us stories about that tournament? Something that you remember from the final, something that you remember that gave you enormous satisfaction by way of achievement?
Yeah, first of all, good evening to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know where to begin and where to end. With my 2 friends, you have asked me to open the innings. I'll try to do my best to live up to Shrikant's opening stand. Nevertheless, the first turning point, according to me, of course, he will have his own view, opinion, probably will have the similar opinions and views of the entire 83 World Cup. The first turning point is, first of all, before leaving the shores of India, we were the 4th weakest team in the competition. And at least in my mind, it was, if we could qualify until the knockout, would have been a great achievement. And then from there on, we played our very first match. In our group were the world champions who ruled the roost for nearly 2 decades, right? So West Indians, and they had won the inaugural 1975. And 1979, and they were gunning for the hat-trick of 1983. So they were in our group, and the very first encounter of the tournament, the match, was against the West Indies, the world champions, and India were playing at Old Trafford. And without going into the details of it, we beat them comprehensively. And we were so happy in the dressing room. Hey, while we were changing happily into the dressing room, one of the players, I can't remember, not many things stick into my shining and slippery head, you see. They slip off very quickly. But nevertheless, there are certain things which get stuck into this head. One of the players screamed from the washroom, "Hey, we have beaten the world champions, man," he said. And suddenly we all woke up while we were changing and we went into a chorus. "Hey, we have beaten the world champions, man." And from there, believe me, we never looked back. The best thing about the captain was Captain Kapil Dev, and a great statement he had given into the team meeting. He had expressed himself. He said, "Listen, gentlemen, I have 7 seniors in the team. I don't have to tell those 7 seniors as to what their responsibilities are, what they have to do. You all seniors have to guide me." It's a great thing for a captain to come out with. And from there on, believe me, we believed in our capabilities, we believed in our strength. We never looked back, being the dark horses of the tournament. You know, we just went on and came up to Zimbabwe. That was the qualifying match for all of us, which was not televised, unfortunately, by BBC. They said they were on a strike. I don't know what sort of strike that was. I'm not too sure about the strike part of it. Normally, the big television companies don't televise the minnows of the team. We were the minnows. We were playing Zimbabwe at the Tunbridge Wells, and normally I don't get,
You had a great match. You had a great match behind the wickets against Zimbabwe.
Yes, that was the league matches which we played on, and I happened to have 5 victims. I was the first one. I mean, I feel a little, delicate talking about myself.
Okay, we'll get Mr. Shrikant to talk about an incident that. No. We'll go back and forth. There's a story that there's actually an anecdote about Mr. Kirmani catching foul backers, and something that happens afterwards when you, in your excitement, do something that causes him some grief.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to thank the Hindu for the huddle today. And actually, I'm there because of my friend there, Mukund Padmanabhan, sitting in the front row, because I have a family wedding at home. And I said, no, I can't come. No, Mukund said, "Chika, you have to come for my sake." So friends, I'm happy to be here. Happy to be with my roommate of the 1983 World Cup, Mr. Raja Binny, Humphrey Binny. And of course, the South Indian partner, Mr. Kirmani. You asked me something?
There was.
You was talking about the fourth backers catch.
And what happened afterwards?
I went and jumped on this guy.
Why?
That is what you call celebration, man. In the World Cup final you're talking about, and before everything starts, let me be very honest. Kiri said he had the confidence in the first game. He's bluffing, actually. Honestly speaking, when we left the shores of India, we never thought we'll ever qualify, boss. The actual truth was, these two guys are also booked on the same flight with us. Our true flight bookings were Bombay to New York, stopover in London to play the World Cup, by the way. These two guys came to America later on with us, all of us went. So we never expected to be there. And the frank truth is, we all thought, okay, we'll also play the World Cup, watch the semi-finals, finals at Lord's, and then go back to America, play some friendly matches, and come. We all were going in a holiday mood. But yes, that's when I think our captain, Kapil Dev, made a strong statement on the eve of the speech, on the eve of the match, the opening match. He is a typical aggressive cricketer, led by example. I think if 1983 World Cup was won, yes, it was team effort. But I think largely due to Kapil Dev's one-man effort in terms of the guy who gave us confidence. Kapil was the guy who said, man, we can beat them. He gave us the confidence. Even when he said that in the team meeting, all of us, you look at this, each other and say, usual, all these captains say all kinds of rubbish on the team meetings. And these guys expect us to beat this West Indian side. But yes, next day was history as Kaba think the opening match at Old Trafford important. Coming back to the finals, yes, we all had a deadly time. And one incident I would like to know, Mukul is there. Raja Binny was standing in covers. I was standing cover point. And in the good old days, in that World Cup times, we used to have something called tea. So the way Richards was playing the sizzling cover drives, I think Roger and myself looked at each other and smiled and said, hey, Machan, over by tea time, da, actually. Ask Roger whether it's true or not. Zoom, zoom, the ball was going past me and Roger. Both of us are looking at each other, gone with the win only. But then, that great catch of Kapil Dev turned the match. And then, you saw Mr. Kirmani taking those deadly catches, fourth backers, and that catch was a deadly catch and brilliant catch. And I think we were all celebrating, and Kiri was crying because I think my nails were on his shoes, if I'm right.
I just...
let me finish that nail talk.
Well,
He's nailing me somewhere down the line.
I just need to get...
Hang on, let me finish that nailing point, right? By chance, my habit is to make a sincere effort, anything going past me. So I found the ball getting stuck into my glove, and with the excitement, as usual, this man comes up, runs and stamps my boot. And in that excitement, I didn't know what had happened. But after the match, we were celebrating, I was removing my shoes, I saw blood. Where did this blood come from? Then I rewinded myself, and it was Shrikant who jumped with his spiked boot onto my shoe, onto my boot, and that went right through the boot, poked me into the the second finger of my right foot, and the mark is still there. I can't forget you, Shri.
Savaged by Shrikant. Roger, you had an extraordinary tournament. I mean, you took the most number of wickets. You played an all-round role. You scored crucial runs. You and Mohinder Ramnath, in a sense, were the most consistent players of the World Cup. I just wanted to ask you something that, that stirred the curiosity of fans ever since that World Cup happened, which is, how did it happen that through a tournament where in the finals we are playing a fast bowling attack, which is Joel Garner and Andy Roberts and Malcolm Marshall, and essentially we win the tournament, not because of spin, not because of express pace, because we don't have it, but essentially because of a group of medium-pace bowlers, you outstanding amongst them, who essentially won it for us. How did that happen? Do you have an explanation? I mean, do you have some large sense of why? Was it the time, the place, the conditions?
Yeah, I think England is a place, where small totals bowlers can bowl to small totals and still win the games, because the wickets there do seam a lot, the ball swings a lot, and if you see all of us, even Amarnath, though he ran in so slowly and bowled, but when he bowled, his ball came faster than Kapil Dev at times. He was much quicker off the pitch, though Kapil was quicker in the air. So definitely there's something for the bowlers in England. Well, if that 183 was in India, probably we would have struggled. Even our spinners would not be able to get the West Indies out. But being those conditions, you see, the bowlers definitely had a chance. There's always a chance. If you pitch the ball up, it seamed a little bit. It swung a little bit. And all of us, actually, except Kapil swung the ball a lot. He didn't seam the ball much. But if you say Madan, Amarnath, and myself, we seamed the ball. That's why we got so much of success in England during that World Cup.
And in the opening match against the West Indies that Mr. Kirmani was talking about, you took 3 wickets. I just want to ask, when that match happened, we beat the West Indies 2 out of 3 times that we met them in that World Cup. And they hadn't lost a match since the World Cup began. I mean, this was the first time that they lost a match. What was it like being in the moment of that first match against the West Indies?
Yeah, you see, the score, we had made a decent score. We had 240 plus we were in that game. And towards the end, the weather got bad. The match was called off, and we played the game. We carried on the game the next day. And when we batted, we had a lot of sunshine, and the wicket was pretty decent. But the next day when we came back, it was cloudy, overcast. And when that happens in England, the ball does a lot of tricks. So we were able to pitch the ball in the right areas, and even batsmen like Clive Lloyd, Viv Richards, and even Gordon Greenidge, they had no clue what we were bowling in the first game. That's what really gave us all that confidence. And I would like to add here, Chika and Kirmani, about Kapil. I mean, Kapil is a cricketer like a golfer now, he's got a lot of confidence. He's a terrific cricketer, a terrific captain, because at no point he ever gave up any game. And even that the final, when 183, I mean, all of us had very little hope before we went onto the cricket field, to come and start our bowling session. But Kapil was the one in the dressing room who called out and said, okay, if they can get us out for 180, I'm sure we can do it. And that's what happened. We went inside there and started to get wickets one after the other. So Kapil played a very, very big role in that World Cup for us.
He was inspirational.
Very much, yeah.
He was inspirational.
And he led from the front. His 175 against Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
Unbelievable knock.
Yeah.
He didn't. Kiri had a long, I think 100-run partnership with Kapil. I had 180 after these guys got out. So they threw their wickets away from me, 5 down for 30.
Excuse me.
So did you?
See, honestly speaking, that was, I think, one of the most outstanding matches I played. I mean, 17 for 5, we were out, ball was singing. It was Tonbridge Wells, the ball was seaming a lot. It's wet conditions. Wet means dampy conditions. All of us are out for zeros. Sunil Gavaskar, zoom 0. Shrikant, zoom 0. I mean, in 17 for 5, there are 3 zeros. And then Kapil stitched partnerships with Kirmani, Roger Binny, and Madanlal. And best part is at 17 for 5, the captain walks in. What do you expect captain to do? Okay, man, let's try and get about 150, 170, and then make a match out of it. First ball, boom, over covers 4. And then that day was an amazing day. I mean, the way he hit those shots and 6s and 4s at will. And of course, I think, honestly speaking, one of the most consistent performers as you have, apart from Kapil Dev, who was outstandingly brilliant in the World Cup, you have 2 of the most consistent performances in the 1983 World Cup were actually Roger Binny and Kirmani. Yes. And you'll have to give it to them. Frankly, the partnerships they did, the way Roger was, I would say is dangling the ball is the right term. I mean, Humphrey was in his, I would say, the best. Even in the finals, I think Humphrey's best spell was against Humphrey Binny. He's Roger, Michael, Humphrey, Binny. We call him Humphrey. So I think his best spell was against Australia at Chelmsford. You got the man of the match, if I'm right?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. 4 wickets, right? Yeah. Roger was brilliant. Kiri was outstanding man. I mean, in my opinion, frankly, this is a little bit out of context. One of the best wicketkeeper batsmen the world has ever produced is actually Kirmani.
Well, it's a fact that's sometimes forgotten that after we won the final, Mr. Kirmani was presented essentially a trophy for being the best wicketkeeper in the world by Godfrey Evans, which was, what was the trophy? A silver?
Well, not many are aware of this, my very personal achievement, away from the winning the World Cup. This personal achievement was, I cannot forget, when after we won the World Cup, Sir Godfrey Evans, the all-time great wicketkeeper England or the world had ever seen, came up to the dressing room of ours, because the whole ground was filled with spectators and the entire Indian community was on the Lord's cricket ground. We couldn't see the ground, but nevertheless. So I was awarded this world's best wicketkeeper, a silver glove with a silver ball into it, like they give the golden boot for these footballers, something like that, in silver glove and a silver ball, and I cherish that throughout my life.
What a lovely story. I just want to, this is meant to look forward to how the World Cup actually, changed the nature of Indian cricket. But before we get there, we have to have, that story about that 6 in the finals. I mean, I remember watching the commentary and watching the match, and a commentator said after Shrikant pulled Andy Roberts for 4, he says, yes, now he's setting him up. Now he's going to bowl the faster bouncer, because Andy Roberts is 2 bouncers. And he did, except Shrikant hit it for 6. So it was one of, it was that rare moment. You scored 38, and it turned out to be an enormous score in the context of this match. What was it like facing this absurdly fast bowling attack? There was I mean, I can think off the top of my head of Garner, Marshall, Roberts, Holding. I mean, what was it like facing a four-pronged attack like that?
See, again, the way the morning was slightly damp and Sunny got out early, and the ball was, again, this Garner is like a giant man. Come on, 6 feet high, 8 inches high, and the ball is delivered from some 10 feet, 11 feet. And the ball is just bouncing, boom, boom. So the other side was Jimmy. I said, Jimmy, what the hell, man? What should I do? I don't know what to do. Then he said, just play your game, da chica. That's all he said. I said, okay, I have now license to kill now. That's it, go for it. So I said, anything short, I'm going to go for it. I mean, I'm not bothered whether they have 2 people, 3 people. I mean, one good thing is that's one of the reasons maybe that I was reasonably a good player of fast bowling is that right from my childhood, my attitude towards cricket was if I have to die on my cricket field, let me die on my cricket field. So I think the best way to take on this fast bowling is counter-attack. I mean, attack is the best form of defense.
Let me put this in context. It's something that we have forgotten. Everybody remembers Balwant Singh Sandhu's wonderful in-dipping ball that bowls Gordon Greenwich in the innings. What they forget, and this will put what Shrikant says about facing express pace in context. He also got hit on the head by Marshall, Sandhu did. He got hit on the head. I was watching old footage. It's sickeningly frightening. He gets hit on the head, the play is paused, Malcolm Marshall elaborately ties his shoelaces, Dujon comes and asks Sandhu if he's well. Sandhu pretends that nothing has happened. But, you know, if it wasn't for that helmet, and I can remember the fact that Sunil Gavaskar didn't wear a helmet even at the time, you know, it could have been, as we know, a near fatal accident. So playing liquid pace like that was incredibly difficult.
That's right, but I think you get used to it. On honest truth is you get used to it, playing those kind of fast bowling. I mean, people like Imran Khan was consistently fast, Holding was consistently fast, Malcolm Marshall was deadly. So I think you have to, and I think Roberts or all these guys, but I think there's a little bit of a challenge playing those kind of fast bowling. Let's put it that way. And I think the 1983 World Cup final, we never expected to be in the final. We were in the final. And we won the World Cup final. I mean, which was, even today we have to pinch ourselves and find out, hey, come on, man, did we win the World Cup final? Yes, we did. I tell you what, one thing that I just like to point out here is, I mean, you can keep on talking about individually honorable experience, but the greatest thing that the World Cup did for all of us as Indians is this. That the first time you could walk out on the streets of London the next day or the same night and say, we are the world champions. Because we've been ruled by England for years and years, and we speak in English, we play cricket, we're all wearing a coat and a tie and all those things. We still behave like Englishmen today. But still, that is what changed the Indian attitude. The Indianness, proud to be an Indian feeling across the globe, started resonating, in my opinion, from the 1983 World Cup. Again, reassured of the 1985 Benson's win in 85, so that nobody could call us a fluke in 1983. And of course, reconfirmed in 2011 when we won the World Cup in India. So that first win, or the first magnificent win for cricket, I mean, cricket was the game, as you know, played by the Englishmen, taught by the Englishmen, at Lords, beating them there, fair and square. Semi-finals, England, where England is playing, the commentators talking about England, repeat of the 1979 final. Oh, West Indies was India, what should England be doing, whom to be playing? They were actually already discussing on the television, on the BBC, on the finals. They forgot that they were playing India in the semi-finals. And that they had to beat India in the semi-finals. And they were literally talking in the television on the semi-finals about England, West Indies repeat of the 79 final. So that is what the 1983 World Cup did. I'm sure you as Indians feel proud even today. Maybe some of you wouldn't have been born that time, or maybe some of you wouldn't have seen that match also, but still, the 83 World Cup, that is a change I think it brought into not only the Indian cricket, but as Indians.
You know, talking about the change, and the change in the way in which India plays its cricket, in the way in which playing cricket for India is rewarded, in the influence of India over international cricket, an enormous amount has changed. Roger, you are in the completely unique position of having played that era when India wasn't either the world champion and was certainly not the political boss of the international cricketing fraternity in a way that it is now. And the extraordinary position of having your son, decades later, play international cricket for India. You must be an enormously proud man, but it also gives you a unique perspective on how the game changed between the time you played it and Stuart played it. So, do you want to tell us one or two things that you think are central to this change? What are the really enormous things that have changed?
Well, I can remember the first minute I saw Stuart when he was born, and the first thought in my mind was, I wish he plays for India. You see that? So that I can remember that very clearly. Yes, I mean, there's an enormous gap from the time I played cricket and when Stuart played now. I mean, the game has gone through a drastic change. Our fitness levels. Firstly, our fitness levels. Even at that point in those days, 250, 200, 240, 250 were winning targets. Even in India, not many teams scored 300 runs. So actually, we were still learning the one-day game. Though we were playing 60 overs, but we were still scoring 240s and 250s. So we were in that learning stage of one-day cricket. We never played too many big shots. We still played a lot of test cricket in one-days. You couldn't go there and hit the first ball. But not like Shrikant. If Shrikant hit the first ball he faced. But that was his game. He stuck with his plan and he played that way. But the game we were just learning at that point in time. And then slowly, after a few years, 300 was the target. Now it's 350, So there's been a drastic change in the bowlers' fitness. They're much more fitter now. Though I don't agree with them because they don't bowl enough in the nets. You see, to get their skill levels up. They bowl a lot in the matches, they say. But so that's one drastic change. The fitness levels are up. They're able to, the batsmen dominate the game now, which I think is not in my book being a bowler.
A good idea.
In my book, it should be 50-50. I mean, you can't have it's very lopsided at the moment. It's very one-sided. The batsman has everything going for him in a one-day game.
Mr. Shrikant, what, in your view, is the biggest change that you've seen in cricket? Not necessarily in playing styles or targets. Roger spoke about that. If there are a couple of things that have changed the nature of Indian cricket, what would they be in your book?
I think the confidence level as Indians is fantastic. I think one thing I always believe is that you should never compare eras. 83 is done and dusted. Those days are gone. 2011, we won the World Cup again. Those are typical different things. See, the good old days, it used to be white flannels. Then we had the, what do you call, day-night matches, color clothing, white balls. So I think the game has evolved is the right term. I would like to use the word changed. It's evolvement. I mean, the way the strategies have become different. Those days, the kind of fielding they do today is amazing. I mean, the catches they take sometimes is outstanding. The grounds have become fantastic in India. And so overall, there's been a lot of positive change in cricket. And of course, you can keep on arguing, in our days, this days, our days, this days. But I think you'll have to accept things and move on. I mean, everything changes. The way you dress, the way you talk, the way you, behave, the way the youngsters behave, the way the youngsters are brought out. Today, technology is there. The good old days, there was no technology. Been more focused on fitness. We never had a manager. We never had a coach. We never had physical trainers. We never had camps. We never had training. Everything. It was at your will. You want to do more warm-up? You do warm-up. You don't want to do warm-up? Don't do warm-up.
So did you do warm-ups?
Not exactly. So I never used that. For information, Sunil Gavaskar's never gone round. You all both of you agree with me? Okay, Srikant. Good about Visha. I mean, it all depends. I mean, the fitness level, but in the day, all of us were fit. I'll be very honest. I think nobody can throw the ball like Roger Binny. Even today, Roger can throw the ball at this height from the boundary line. Like a bullet. He was a javelin thrower. By default, he became a cricketer. So, Kiri's fitness was Kiri used to exercise a lot, by the way. Yeah? Kiri used to do all the yoga, biga and all those days. So Kiri was flexible, but it all depends. So times have changed. Today, fitness, more focus on fitness, managers, coaches, and technology. You can rewind, go back. I mean, you get out, you come back, you can watch where the mistakes are being done. So you will have to accept the change and move on. I think probably 20 years down the line, the cricket will be totally different. Yes, as he said, 350. Why? 225 in a normal 50-over game when we have played was a winning total. Remember, Roger, we scored 224 against England at Sydney in the World Championship cricket at Sydney, and we won the match comfortably. So 220 was a winning total. As he said rightly, in the good old days, it was like this. Hey, opening first 15 overs, just 3 runs an over was a good total. 45 for 1, end of 15 overs, fantastic. 60 for 1, 60 for 2, end of 15 overs, fantastic. Now it's the reverse. We had the same, field restrictions that time also, whatever you call it. But now they want first 10 overs, 70 for no loss, 70 for 2. So the approach has changed to life. The approach, the game has changed. The approach has totally changed, and I think you'll have to accept it. That's it. So 350, man, you see the last series against England. 350, England was finding it difficult to defend 2 matches. Outstanding. I mean, unimaginable in our days.
I just want to go to Mr. Kirmani with a question not about cricket playing itself, but the status of India within the world game as a kind of administrative power. One of the stories told about the 1983 World Cup was that it was such a surprise to get into the finals that the head of BCCI found it hard to get a couple of complimentary passes for his friends into the finals of the World Cup of 1983. And it was for the first time in '87 that the World Cup actually moves out of England. It's been played 3 times continuously, and the English actually assume it's going to be played permanently in England as a kind of fixture. And then it's moved out to India. Reliance produces the Reliance Cup. Now you have a situation where the ICC at one point decided that there would be a new way in which world cricket would be administered, where the 3 big powers would be India, Australia, and England. So there's a sense in which between 1983 and now, India's standing as a cricket power, not just in terms of its cricketing excellence, but in terms of its administrative muscle, its weight, has completely been transformed. Has it been a change entirely for the good?
Yeah, I suppose it all started off after the 1983 World Cup win. I'm very positive. I'm sure my colleagues will definitely vouch and endorse that view of mine, that we laid a very strong foundation.
Yes.
In 1983, by winning the World Cup, for the current era of cricketers and the administrators to build stories on our foundation, and which is going on. Right. So on those bases, there have been a lot of changes, like what the technology and so many changes which have come into our cricket right from our era. जैसे कहते हैं हिंदी में कहते हैं ज़मीन आसमान का फ़र्क हमारे ज़माने और इस ज़माने के खिलाड़ियों में. So on those bases, but let me take it on to very interesting incidences during the 1983 World Cup final. We talked about Balwinder Sandhu's first wicket, which was a superb in-swinger, which got in Greenwich judged so beautifully. The ball pitching outside the off stump and coming in and taking his off stump off. And that excitement, everybody went on, the first wicket falling. And all of us went there, and I congratulated Ballu, we call him Ballu, and said, Ballu, kya in-swinger tha yaar, zabardast, kya wicket liya yaar. Kiri bhai, maine out-swinger dala, wo in-swing ho gaya. मैं बोला यार छोड़ विकेट तो मिली है ना यार, चाहे इन स्विंगर हो या आउट स्विंगर हो, विकेट इज अ विकेट, व्हाट वी वांट इज अ रिजल्ट मैन, इट्स ओके. मगर किरी भाई बोलना नहीं किसी को. Let me come with another very funny incident of Ballu. Last wicket partnership between me and Ballu. Right, we had about some 28 runs partnership, and the first ball he faced of Malcolm Marshall, believe me, was a bouncer. And in that time, we didn't have those proper helmets. The equipment was so poor quality, you know. So the first ball, bouncer, it hit, by the time Ballu could do anything, it hit him on his helmet here. And he was seeing stars during daytime, right? I went across, I ran to him, yaar Ballu, when I went to him, he was rubbing his helmet. I said, Ballu, क्या कर रहा है यार? Helmet को क्यों लगा रहा? Oh, sorry, Kiri bhai. Helmet निकाल के, then he was rubbing. Right? And Dickie Bird of our time was the best umpire in the world. Right. So he fired Malcolm Marshall with 4-letter words. How can you bowl a bounce at him? Blah, 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 blah. He went into that act. Go and say sorry to him. So Malcolm came. He came, hey, Ballu, I didn't mean to hit you, nah, man, he said. And he said that, I'm sorry, and he was walking away. Ballu called him. In that situation, believe me, Ballu called him, hey, Marco, come here now. You think my brain is up here? It's here, Naman, it's here, he said. And, you know, the typical West Indian laughter. He walked away.
Right. So let me just carry that question around. Shrikant, has India's evolving stature within the world game? I mean, there was a time when we were the receiving end of a kind of Australia-England dominance, where they ruled the world. And now there's a sense in which we've made common cause with them to rule the rest of them. Is this entirely a good thing?
See, you have to understand one thing. I think everything will automatically find a balance everywhere. It will automatically happen. I think good thing is India is not a superpower only in cricket. It's a superpower worldwide. You'll have to accept the fact in overall. I mean, let's face it, man, all the multinationals have to come here to sell their products. You will have to say good morning to India from now onwards. Good evening to India. And over a period of time, I think, see, that's a proud feeling in the sense, I'm not talking about the dominance. I'm talking about the Indianness. The Indians are now the most wanted, be it cricket, be it business. That's a good evolvement. That's what I'm trying to say. I mean, isn't it a fact? Or no?
It certainly is in many ways, yes.
That's all. So the whole, again, I call it the process of evolution. It starts with cricket. It's not, I wouldn't like to use the word dominance. The importance is the right term. I would like to use the word importance, if I may, rather than calling it dominance. I think the cricketing importance of India is bigger. And the importance of India as an economic nation has become very bigger. And over a period of time, I think India will definitely be a superpower, which we are all the way, I mean, already on the road to make it a superpower. And we will one day when America, just like US, has been dictating terms to the worldwide in every aspect of life, one day I'm sure we Indians, I wouldn't like to use the word dictate. We will dominate. I don't like the word dictatorship, or
you like the word dominant?
Not dominant. More important, bro, is a better word. Don't you think so?
Roger?
Yeah, and I think what Srikant said, about the Indian team being so dominant. In the 70s, it was the West Indies were like that. Yes. I mean, when they went on a tour, they could demand for anything they wanted, especially the money, the prize money and the tour money. They used to get big bucks. The same thing with the present Indian team at the moment. And, of course, the BCI has taken advantage of it over the years, because like Shrikant says, there's so many multinationals, there's so much over here for them to benefit from, that's how the game has grown so much.
Right. Well, on that optimistic note, I know that people are dying to ask questions, so we will open it up to the House. Questions? Yes, the gentleman there with the French beard.
While we clear that, can I take a question?
Oh, yes, of course, yes.
While we fix that, can I take a quick one? I'll try to be brief. I have two questions, one for Mr. Srikant and the other one for all of you. My first question is, you've always known to be the boom boom man, right? You would come in, play, and try to finish things and move on. My father used to express it in a very different way. He would say, maybe he lights a cigarette before he walks in, and before the game is over, and he wants to go back before the cigarette's over, right? But we would do boom, boom. The second thing is your twisting of your nose, which you used to do quite often during play. We don't see that now. So I was just wondering the two things.
One is, see, that's the game, thank God. I mean, what's your name? How old are you, by the way? Yeah.
I'm 41.
41, you were not born that time or what?
75.
7, okay, fine. Okay, everybody like this say, my father was a great fan, my father was a great fan. So do I look that old by you, by the way? No. Don't I look younger? Don't I look young and charming for the ladies here? Yeah, babies, that's it. That was the nervousness. I used to do the twitching of the nerves when I used to play cricket. I was a very restless, I'm even today a restless person. I'm a very talkative person. And that's a game I knew. I did not know how I knew the game. As Roger Binny said, my game was attack and attack. I studied this way, played cricket that way, talked that way. Mine was only boom, boom, attack, attack, attack. That's it. I don't know how to play the orthodox style. Let me put it that way. I've always been an unorthodox person in every aspect of life and approach towards life. And this was because I used to have the nervousness. I used to keep walking right and now. Even now, when I become slightly concentration mode or thinking mode or slightly nervous mode, it will all start off again. The nose twitching will start off. So that means I'm in a relaxed frame of mind now, you understand? So I'm in the huddle, actually, that's why. So
I must say at this juncture, Jeffrey Boycott didn't like that, Whenever he was standing in forward short leg and did all those things, habituated to, Jeffrey always, used to scold him at that time in his own words. Right or not?
to hell with him.
Mukul, I'll take one more. Mukul, I'll take one more quickly.
Okay.
No.
Hold on a minute. Let's just, can we have, yes, go on.
Hello, my name is Utsav. So you were part of the, question specific to Chika actually. So you're part of the 1983 World Cup winning squad and you were the chairman of selectors during the 2011 World Cup. So how has the approach of the selectors changed towards the process of selection, as in now you have IPL and maybe more involvement of Ranji, players coming in from tier 2 cities. How was it back then? How has it changed now?
I think it's changed a lot. I think, honestly speaking, yes. I think God has been very kind. Thanks for reminding, yes. I've been a part of the 1983 World Cup winning team and the second World Cup winning, I was the chairman of the selection committee. I mean, you'll have it again, it's the evolvement of cricket. You used the right term. Thanks to television, thanks to media, you'll have to understand. Now, the cricket has become more dominant. Now I'll use the word dominant in the tier 2, tier 3 cities. You see, most of the cricketers in the good old days used to come from Bombay, Bangalore, Chennai, Delhi, or these metros, Calcutta a little bit. But today, most of the cricketers come from the tier 2, tier 3 cities. Cricket is being dominated by tier 2. I mean, one of the greatest cricketers of all time that has been produced, MS Dhoni, is from a small town called Ranchi. Bhuvanesh Kumar is from Meerut. Raina is from some Ghaziabad or Moradabad. I'm just giving an example. See, so you see that so many cricketers are coming from all these small towns, small places. So many cricketers. I mean, Sahir Khan, the Pathans, and this, all these guys. So if you see, good thing, thanks to media and thanks to cricket being so popular, it's filtered down to every level, even the village level, and that is what the greatness of this game is. And you see, Nawab of Namjatgarh, or whatever it is for Seva comes from a small town in Haryana. So that's what cricket has done. The power of cricket, and the power of media, and the power of television and media is taken cricket that level, filtered down to that level.
Gentleman there, yeah.
Hi, thank you. Mr. Shrikant said that the 1983 World Cup is done and dusted, and I know what he means by that. But it's interesting how memories are made. I was just 1 year old when India won the World Cup in 1983. But for me, that image of Kapil Dev lifting the World Cup is fresher in my memory than Dhoni and the team lifting the World Cup in 2011. So Mukul, as a cricket writer, how do you look at that and how memories are made and how they are sticky in our minds?
Well, I was luckily old enough to have adult memories of the 1983 World Cup. And, it's true. For someone my age, it is the World Cup victory. I mean, it was a fairy tale. You don't do fairy tales over. 2011, we won. There was a sense in which we won major contenders. Any other questions? Yes, over there.
Hi. I had a very interesting question linked to not just the 1983 World Cup. It is actually the match, the bilateral series that you had with West Indies in March. There's one victory that actually changed a lot of things for you. How much of it, when you won against West Indies in Albion, where it was the second ODI, if I remember correctly, and how much of it actually instilled a sense of self-belief that you could do it and you could win against West Indies?
Okay, actually speaking, can I answer the question in one part and I'll put it on to Kiri? Because Kiri played that match at Burbies, maybe. It was at Burbies, but I said, a very good point made by, because that is the actual point Kapil Dev pointed out in the team meeting. I mean, I'm sure Roger and Kiri, when he said when we could beat West Indies once, why not once more, was Kapil's motivation, the opening match of the 1983 World Cup. That's when I said earlier on, I made a comment, right? This is like a typical captain or the leader or the managing director or the managing editor saying, hey, go ahead, doing, man, we can do it. And we say, God, this bugger, our boss has got painful now. What kind of targets is giving us? As usual, all of us start sniggering. We were all talking, really, Kapil Dev has gone mad. Oh, okay, yeah, we beat them once, does it mad? But that is the self-belief of this great man called Kapil Dev that rubbed on us. And that energy of Kapil Dev was crucial in us winning the opening game, and that is what important. I think good point. You can answer this question if you want, because you played that match. It was at Burbies. You made a very good point. I think Gavaskar got 92 or 95 in that match.
You have not left anything for me to say, Shri. Right, you have said everything. Right, nevertheless, that Burbies match was the first one which we beat the West Indies for the first time when we toured before the World Cup, that was. And as he said that he was a great motivating factor, Kapil Dev, and a leader leading from the front and man of very few words. Right, I must take you back to Zimbabwe, which was a very important match for us to qualify into the knockout stage when we were 17 for 5, which he has already mentioned. And normally I don't get batting into the one-day international because there were 7 all-rounders in the team, and I was never considered an all-rounder until Dhoni came in and proved that a wicketkeeper also can bat. So on those basis, I was in my towel in the dressing room having a nice toast and preparing myself for a good shower, I take a little longer time drying my hair, nevertheless. So on those basis, somebody from outside said, hey, Kiri, pat up, man, bol ke pukara bahar se. The guys pull our legs as and when required. So I just ignored that shout. And then within 1 more minute, another shout came in and said, hey, kya kar raha hai, yaar, pat up, yaar. I looked into holding my towel, I looked through the window, I saw 17 for 5. And by the time, I don't know whether I had my shower or my breakfast, I was walking in. We were 8 down and behind me was Ballu. And this story we heard after 25 years by Krishnamachari Srikkanth. He expressed what all happened when our partnership was building up. I went up to Kapil and said, okay, listen, Kapil, we are in a do-or-die situation. You go for it, man, now. Every ball you got to hit. Hey, Kiri bhai, hamar ko 60 over khelni hai, he said, I said, don't worry about it. I'll play 1 delivery, give you 5 deliveries. You go. Maar ke marne ka hai, Kapil Dev. I told him that. So on those bases, I took 1 single, 1 ball, and the rest 5 deliveries. It was something like what Shrikant expresses, boom, boom, right? 4 and a 6, 4 and a 6, and that was, after that, there was a superstition which was within the team. The manager was holding on to all of these guys, and this story came out after 25 years, right? And Shrikant with his wife standing under the tree, smoking one after another. He was a chain smoker, I don't know about now, nevertheless. And there, he was, he was under pressure at that time, there, and he told Man Singh, our manager, Man, mere ko jana hai. Man said, stay in the same position. He had his right hand on his wife's shoulder, and she's still walking like this only now, right? So he said, do it there itself. If you want to go, do it there itself. We are all sitting in one position. One of the players was sitting like this, holding one hand. He was like this only. We had 120 runs partnership. And after we played 60 overs, 175 not out. I think you all have to put your hands together for that great knock of Kapil Dev. 175. A devastating knock. And after that, I don't know what all happened when he ran to the washroom on the way. You have to tell that.
Does someone have a question there? Yes, behind the... No. The lady there.
I'm switching at the same time, so I'm a big fan, and there's a little offbeat to end the session. There's a little, these days, girlfriends and wives are all allowed to come to the stadium. Just to know, being 1983, was it a little introvert? Were your wives, girlfriends allowed? I'm sure you all are handsome men. You must have had girlfriends. But were they allowed to come to the stadium, wave, vouch for you, cheer for you? If you want to reveal.
Roger, we'll start with you.
Roger had a lot of girlfriends, by the way. He was the most handsome of the lot.
I was happily married at that time with 2 girls in '83. Yeah. But the cricket board allowed the wives to come across after taking special permission from the BCCI in writing. So I think Shrikant's wife was on the tour, and Kirmani's wife came a bit later too. So wives were allowed to come in, and those who were single had their girlfriends around too.
Excellent.
Actually, all the wives came. In fact, Kapil Dev's wife came. Sunil Gavaskar's wife was there. Madanlal's wife was there. My wife was there. And Kiri's wife was not there. Roger's wife was not there. And I just got married. 83 March I had got married. 83 May, June we were in the World Cup. And when we were losing in the finals, all the wives went back home. That is, went to the room. Mohit Ramanath's wife, Kapil Dev's wife, and Madanlal's wife. Those 3 of them went back to the room at Westmore. And only, it was so lucky, very strange that Vidya didn't know anything about cricket. That's my wife. And only she and Pami, that is Sunil Gavaskar's wife, were the 2 lucky ones who saw India actually winning the World Cup in the stadium. The other wives had gone back to the room by them thinking that we were going to lose the match the way Viv Richards is batting. See, that's what happens. And I think the great catch of Kapil Dev, it was an outstanding catch by Kapil Dev, which he made it look so simple, running from square leg to literally mid-wicket and taking the catch. And if you really look at the replays even now, every now and then, it was actually Yashpal Sharma's catch. Kapil made it so simple and easy. And I think that wicket of Viv Richards turned the match around, and rest is history. But one great thing we'll have to say, imagine, the board announced 25,000 rupees bonus for us in 1983 World Cup. And we said, hey, oh, wow, 25,000 rupees bonus for us, man. We were all jumping. Can you believe it, 1983? Really, it's the truth.
The gentleman in the blue shirt over there, yes.
Hi, my name is Darshan. My question is, how did your lives change post-1983?
Your wife. Life?
Anybody.
Your life or wife?
Life.
Life changed a lot, I think let Roger, Binny and Kirmani answer the question. I'm the younger one. I'm the youngest of a lot. Let's see what the seniors say, and then the youngster comes in. How did your life change, Mr. Kirmani?
Well, life has been fantastic. I have no regrets in my life.
How did it change?
How did it change? You see, I had a lot of hair when I started. All right, now it is like this, and I enjoy that. I have I've been a trendsetter. I think all those guys, who are balding, they feel that it is nice to be like Syed Kirmani, good hairstyle. Life has changed for sure, no two ways about it. You have to go with the wind, but I have no regrets in my life. I've enjoyed every bit of it. And
he's not asking about all that. He's asking you a question. How has 1983 World Cup changed your life?
Well, I have answered that question, I think. I mean, in general, I have said that life changes. There have been a lot of changes. No two ways about it. I cannot, pinpoint.
Roger, your turn now.
Roger Binny.
Roger.
I'm very comfortable. I have no regrets in my life. You have to move with the wind, you know.
What was it like being being a kind of celebrity on a kind of cinematic level after being watched by tens of millions of people in 1983? It hadn't happened that often in cricket before.
Yeah, but I think what was lovely was to see the joy on people's faces, especially when we landed back into India at the Bombay airport, and then we got into this bus, the open-top bus. We drove from there right all the way to the Wankhede Stadium, and all along the way there were people standing. You know, we never saw any traffic at all. It was just people all over the place. They were throwing roses, they were throwing money into the bus. I mean, that sort of a joy we really didn't expect to see on the way back to India. It was tremendous. From there we went back home, and there we were met at the airport with our families, and I mean it was something great for a whole month to be celebrated after that. But the sad part was the West Indies came back to India, and they came back with a bang. I mean, they took revenge against us. They gave us a hammering after they came back. So that was, for the first 3 months, it was good going for us.
Well, last couple of questions. The gentleman there in the middle with the pen.
Thanks, Mr. Mogan. Yeah. Again, popular than politicians, as famous as heroes. So, why not you, the cricketers, be as diplomats for, Afro-Caribbean countries and New Zealand? My question, from Lords to House of Lords. Shrikant, ninga da young. Shoot.
I didn't get the question. So, the lady over there. Yes, the one with the hand up. Yes, you. Yeah.
My favorite cricketer. I had 3 heroes, and one of them happened to be today's birthday. I saw the Twitter. Guddappa Ranganath Vishwanath from Jia Vishwanath. Yes. So, he is my all-time hero. And Viv Richards has been my all-time. I had 3 heroes in my school days. It was Guddappa Vishwanath, Viv Richards, and Dennis Lilly. And in fact, during the 1983 World Cup was the first time I walked up to Dennis Lilly we used to meet the Queen. That's the time when you had to go and we were allowed to go to kneeling and kiss her hand and all those things we did. And remember, opening party.
The Queen, yeah.
Meeting the Queen.
Buckingham Palace.
Okay. We got an opportunity to meet the Queen, and that's when I walked up to Viv Richards and said, "Sir, I'm a great fan of yours. My name is Shrikant. I'm from the Indian cricket team." He said, "Oh, well. And same thing I did. Walked up to Dennis Lilly and said, "I'm a great fan of yours." Because Vishy, by that time, I played along with Vishy, so I used to call him Vishy. So I think these are my heroes, and it so happened Vishwanath was incidentally, during the World Cup, even though he was not the team, he spent those nights with Roger and myself on the eve of the finals, and he was there in the balcony when and we won the match. GRV was in the balcony.
Mr. Kirmani, who was your favorite cricket player?
I don't know whether everybody would accept this. I have never had a role model. I've never dreamt about any role model. I have never had any favoritism. I've never had a favorite dish or ever. I have definitely admired anybody in any discipline of life who has excelled and who has brought name to the country or whatever, internationally.
And in cricket, who
I
did you admire
always admired and appreciated, and I would talk about he or she, but never had any favorite cricket player as such.
Okay.
In our time, there was nobody to tell us, he's a role model, follow him or emulate him or
Roger?
something like that.
Who was growing up, who was your...
My 2 favorites, I didn't play against them because they were much senior to me. One was Sir Garfield Sobers as an all-rounder, which I loved to see him play. And the other was Ian Chappell, the Australian captain. Those 2 were my favorites.
Okay, one last question. The gentleman in the hat, right at the back.
This is Narayankar from the Press Trust of India. It's the question for all 3 of you, Roger, Binny, Kiri, and Krishnamachari Srikkanth. Which one you would choose between Prudential World Cup or Benton and Hedges Cup under Sunil Gavaskar?
I would definitely take the 83 World Cup.
No two ways about it. I would take the 1983 World Cup. It is like, you know, the first love cannot be forgotten.
Definitely 1983 World Cup, because we went there as pure underdogs, and because till 1983 we had played 2 World Cups, 1975 and 79, and we had beaten only one team, and that we had lost to in 1979 Sri Lanka, which was not a qualified international playing country. We had not even Sri Lanka in 1979, for information. So in 1983, till 1979, we won only one World Cup, one match. That was a team against something called East Africa. There's nothing called a country called East Africa. They were all a group of all these Indians playing for East African countries, like Uganda, Tanzania, Zimbabwe, all those things. So India beat only East Africa until the 1983 World Cup. So all of us would definitely go for the 1983 World Cup. No two ways about it.
On that rousing note, it remains to me to thank all 3 of you for this wonderful discussion. Thank you very, very much for being here with us and talking about this epochal moment in Indian cricket. Thank you.
Thanks, Mukul. Thanks, Hindu. Thanks for the nice huddle again, I guess. Huddle with my good old roomies of the 1980 World Cup. Mr. Humphrey Binny. Kirmani.